Hare Krishna. So Krishna is describing 20 elements or 20 items of the process of acquiring knowledge. So we have covered quite a few in Shloka number 8 and 9. Now let's see 3 shlokas together. Shloka number 10, 11 and 12. And we'll cover rest of it now. Asaktir anabhishvangaha putradara grahadishu nityam cha samachittatvam ishtanishtopapatishu mai chananya yogena bhaktir abhyavicharini vivikta desha sevitvam aratir janas samsadi adhyatma jnana nityatvam tattva jnanartha darshanam etad jnanam iti proktam ajnanam yad atonyataha. So now here Krishna is telling from shloka number 10 to 12 about, or talking about these different items of knowledge, starting with asaktir. Asaktir anabhishvangaha putradara grihadishu. So asaktir stands for detachment, and anabhishvangaha putradara grihadishu is freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home and the rest. Nityam cha samachittatvam, that is, he is even-minded even in ishtanishtopapatishu, amidst pleasant and unpleasant events which happens in life. Mai cha ananya yogena bhaktir avyavicharini, constant and unalloyed devotion to Krishna. And then next is spoken about vivikta desha sevitvam, that is aspiring to live in a solitary place. Arthir jana samsadi, that is detachment from general mass of people. Then adhyatma jnana nityatvam, that is accepting the importance of self-realization. And tattva jnanartha darshanam, that is philosophical search for the absolute truth. And here Krishna is declaring something very, very important. He says, etad jnanam iti proktam ajnanam yad ato ataha anyataha. He is saying that I declare all these to be knowledge, and anything apart from this is ajnana, that is ignorance. So very nice points which Krishna has made here, very nice, wonderful items which Krishna has mentioned. So let's see one by one. As for the detachment from children, wife and home, it is not meant that one should have no feelings for these. They are natural objects of affection. But when they are not favorable to spiritual progress, then one should not be attached to them. So it's very important that all the family members actually practice bhakti together. If that is not happening, then unnecessary attachment will come. In family, one thing has to be clear, that Krishna should be the center and all the family members should be serving Krishna. And each family member is connected through Krishna. They don't have a direct connection. They will be connected through Krishna. So Krishna will be connecting all of them. Why? Because all of them are serving Krishna. So when such a connection is there, that is a spiritual connection. When there is a direct connection and attachment, that is a material connection. And material connection is called as bondage. And this bondage will hold the person in this world lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. So there are 4 important points which Srila Prabhupada is giving. What should all the family members do in the house? There are 4 important things. If this is done, then the entire family can remain happy. Very, very important points. First one, everyone should be chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Every single family member should be chanting the Mahamantra first. Second, every single family member should be accepting the remnants of foodstuffs offered to Krishna. That is, all the family members will be accepting only prasadam. Third, they all should have some discussion on books like Bhagavad-gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So there should be a family time. Nowadays the family time is sitting in front of TV, and that is just another doorway to hell. That's it. But then if we want to attain Krishna, then this is what is the thing that is given. All the family members come together and they discuss Bhagavad-gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And the pastimes and various things given in Bhagavatam is not less than any movie or any TV series. But that has to be presented and properly read and understood. And the fourth point is engage oneself in deity worship. So in the house, one should have a very nice temple. And in that temple, they should have the deity, either the photo, Patachitra, or the Archa Vigraha of Lord Shri Krishna, Srimati Radharani, and our Guru Parampara, Panchtattva, Narsimhadev, and they should be worshipping them very nicely. All the family members can come together and do the arti. And when all these things happens, there will be strong bonding amongst the family members as devotees. And all of them together, they will go back home, back to Godhead. So this attachment to the family is actually very dangerous. But then, if the attachment in the family is due to practicing devotional service, then it's a different thing, which will be the cause of liberation and not bondage. One must sacrifice everything to realize or serve Krishna, just as Arjuna did. This is a very important point. Anything that we need to sacrifice, we have to sacrifice. Because there is no question of holding something and remaining in this world forever. We should just give it up. Give it up and just march towards Krishna. Another very important point that is mentioned here is about one should be detached from happiness and distress of family life, because in this world, one can never be fully happy or fully miserable. So everything is temporary. There is no point in giving serious attention to all that. Whatever is needful, we do it and we just move on. That's what is the sutra of life, to move forward or march forward in Krishna consciousness. Now, happiness and distress are concomitant factors of material life. One should learn to tolerate, as advised in Bhagavad-gita. Generally, when we get something desirable, we are very happy, and when we get something undesirable, we are distressed. But if we are actually in spiritual position, these things will not agitate us. To reach that stage, we have to practice unbreakable devotional service. So this is another very important point to note, that happiness and distress, they will keep coming depending on our past karma. We don't know what we have done in the past. And we cannot expect that this much amount of happiness will come, this much amount of distress will come. Or for these many years I'll be happy, these many years I'll be distressed. No. Anytime any bomb can blast. A bomb of joy and happiness, and another bomb of sorrow and distress. We don't know which bomb is going to blast when. So what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to just tolerate. We have to tolerate happiness also, and we have to tolerate distress also. Only when we tolerate both of it and not get moved by the favorable and unfavorable circumstances, what happens? We'll be able to be steady all the time and practice devotional service. And another very important point is, a person who every single day chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Such a person will be able to tolerate all these things. Or else it's very difficult. Very difficult for a common man. Very difficult for a common man. The next thing that is given here is, naturally when one is adapted to spiritual way of life, he will not want to mix with materialistic men. This is very natural. It is said, right? The birds of the same feather flock together. So now a devotee who is practicing devotional service, he would not be interested to go to some circle, some association where they are discussing something nonsense which is not related to Krishna anywhere or spiritual line anywhere. So they'll always keep safe distance, and that is what is recommended also. Because devotees going to a material association will just contaminate the consciousness. So one should keep the material association away and take more and more association of devotees. So it's very important that we find friends in the devotee circle. When we have friends in the devotee circle, and when we have family friends and whatever, so we can keep going to their place, they coming to their house, and there will be a nice environment. And there will be a talk of devotional service only. But then when this is lacking, then we would want some association from outside. One may test himself by seeing how far he is inclined to live in a solitary place without unwanted association. So it's not about, when we say solitary place, it's not about going to some Himalaya or some place where no one is there. Solitary place means free from association of materialists. Solitary place means association of devotees. So what is solitary here? Solitary is being away from the contamination of this world, away from all the nonsense of the theatres and the restaurants and all the shopping malls and everything that is there, away from everything. Being always in the devotee association and practicing devotional service in the association. When that is happening, we'll progress steadily. But then if we are getting the contamination of movies and TV series and going for sightseeing and this and that, all that nonsense, then it's very difficult to progress on the path of bhakti. The person will not be able to break the cycle of birth and death. His movie, which is supposed to be end in this life, he will start another movie in next life. And sometimes he will be the hero in the movie and sometimes he will be the villain. And in both the cases, he is the one who is going to suffer. Because the movie of this world in everyone's life is a movie of suffering and nothing else. Because this world is dukkhalayam, is the world of suffering. According to Bhagavad-gita, one should make research by philosophical discretion into nature of soul. One should make research to understand the self. That is recommended. Many times people are just involved into researching so many nonsensical things of this world. And what are they going to do? Keep doing research and research and research and die without researching one's own self. That is the soul. That is soul and the relationship with the Supreme Lord. If that research is not done, then the entire life is waste. What is the use of any other research in this world? So this process which Krishna is mentioning is very, very important. We need to self-introspect. We need to read Shastra and try to understand that we are not the body, we are spirit soul, we are part and parcel of Krishna, we are servants of Krishna. And what is the goal? The goal is to attain Krishna, break the cycle of birth and death, and go back home back to Godhead. When? This very lifetime. That's what we need to do, all of us as devotees. And finally, there are a few more points which Krishna is making. And Prabhupada is elaborating on that. Beginning from practicing humility up to the point of realization of supreme truth, the absolute personality of Godhead, this process is just like a staircase beginning from the ground floor and going up to the top floor. Unless one reaches the top floor, which is the understanding of Krishna, he is at a lower stage of knowledge. So we need to make sure that when we are climbing the stairs in this process, the 20 items which are there. So whichever floor we have reached, now there is no question of celebration. The celebration is only when we reach the 20th floor. That is the time of celebration. So till then the person should go on. And finally when he reaches the top floor, he is in full knowledge. He is in full knowledge of soul, super soul and prakriti or matter. The beginning of knowledge therefore is amanitvam, humility. One should be humble and know that he is subordinate to Supreme Lord. Due to rebellion against Supreme Lord, one becomes subordinate to material nature. One must know and be convinced of this truth. If we go against the Supreme Lord, if we try competing with the Supreme Lord, we will never be able to break the cycle of birth and death. In fact, such people will be rotting in hell for many, many lifetimes as the verdict that is given in the Vedic scriptures. So it's very important, if a person wants to progress on the path of bhakti, one has to take the subordinate position to the Lord. And obviously we are subordinate. Who are we in comparison to the Supreme Personality of Godhead? We are nothing. We are nothing in comparison to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are all contaminated and fallen and sinful. So we have to take help from the Lord so that we can progress and we can go up on the ladder of spirituality and go back home back to Godhead. But if we start competing, then there is no hope at all for that person. So it's very important to remain humble, understanding our fallen state and understanding the great supreme position of the Supreme Lord and understanding that only He has the power. He has the power to pick me up from this ocean of birth and death and from my fallen state and place me at the transcendental platform in the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan. So in this way, these are the 20 items that Krishna has mentioned, and very clearly he is saying that only these are the set which can be called as knowledge, and everything else apart from this is ignorance. Now after speaking this, now in the next set of verses, that is Shloka number 13 to 19, Krishna is going to address the next topic which Arjuna is asked about the object of knowledge. So let's see that in the future videos. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna